Hello friends! Today we're going to talk about social media and the role that it plays in the artist's experience in sharing their work and maintaining their portfolio and staying connected with their community. Today we're in a particularly isolated time where a lot of artists who traditionally are not digital media artists, myself included, have had to kind of reboot and figure out how to bring more of our work online in order to keep critiques and conversations and sharing going without having access to our traditional face-to-face physical institutions, such as galleries, museums, schools, things like that. So I was inspired to start upon this topic because a good friend of mine who is a phenomenal fiber artist posted on Instagram about their experience with social media and kind of getting caught up in the onslaught of just stress and tension that comes along with trying to figure out what to post and how to word the right post and how to use the right hashtags and how exhausting and overwhelming that can be. So I'm going to put up the caption for the post on the screen here, and this, you can pause it and read it if you want to, but this was attached to just like a selfie image, and I think there's some really awesome points here. I actually have a whole statement that I've written out and attached that original commentary in here, and Katie gets into some really good points about how we view our audience on social media and how we think about the people that are on the other side of the screen. And I just wanted to like jump right in and talk about just like the pitfalls that are attached to the like and share and all of the reinforcing elements that come along with social media. Social media is designed to have, I call them gamified elements. I don't think I came up with that term. I think that that is probably something I picked up along the way from other people. But gamified elements are reward and risk and having very physical, tangible interactions with a screen. For example, having to double tap, or on TikTok having to physically scroll the screen each time. That's just a slight neurological boost to your brain every time you have to physically interact with the screen. But millennial artists, which is the age, how old I am and how old my contemporaries are, millennials had this really interesting experience where we grew up with the internet as part of our sort of coming to age. I was a freshman in college when Instagram first became available on all cellular devices. So it was available on iPhone first, and then I remember it was like spring of my freshman year of college, it became available on Android and all of the devices, which I did not have an iPhone. I still don't. But the idea that like there was a certain point in my life where I saw art as finished products. I saw art in museums, I saw art as movies, I saw art as albums and music. And then there was a distinct switch in my teenage years where we had like Tumblr, and I could get online and I could see in progress work, and I could see the way that artists were developing in their studios, and it gave me a real-time access to the thoughts and processes behind an artist's studio practice. That was fascinating for me. I gained a lot of energy and interest, and may have contributed to me desiring to follow this as a career path. But it created kind of a bit of confusion once we got to a point where it was, and there was a very serious shift from when I started my freshman year of college to when I graduated in my senior year of college, to how much necessity and recognition was attached to having an online presence. I remember there was a gal in our class who had an iPhone, so she was one of the first Instagram users, and she like was able to immediately take off after her undergraduate because she knew how to use that tool. And we all witnessed this and we all saw it, and I think it was a little bit of like a wake-up call for a lot of us that we saw somebody who successfully documented their process, documented their outcome, and was able to grow and gain a following, and then therefore grow a fairly successful career immediately after graduating undergraduate. Whereas some of us who did not go through that process or did not take social media that seriously sort of missed out on that opportunity, that like early access opportunity. So I want to segue into the fact that we are in a pandemic. We are socially distanced, and I hate to say it, but I don't necessarily think that this is going to be the end of our social distance habits. I think that we are probably going to have to embrace this as a culture a little bit and just not have as many large gatherings. I'm hopeful that the vaccine will work, and I'm hopeful that things will go back to a somewhat normal state. But I also want to be prepared for the option that I just need to adapt and change my way of working and my way of thinking. So with that being said, I want to look into the social media relationship with mental health. There have been a lot of really outspoken voices about the negative impact of social media on someone's mental health, with some of the most famous being, of course, like Kanye West, who has publicized his struggles with mental illness and actually was a huge force in getting Instagram to change some of their policies, including the display of the number of likes that an image has had. So it used to be on Instagram, you would see the little heart and then it would say directly underneath of the image how many people have liked that. And for a lot of people that became a sort of addictive quality of the app, was you were constantly checking those numbers and seeing how many people liked an image. And a lot of people have equated that to sort of an addiction or even like a drug. Like it's something that they needed to feel validated and to feel worthy and real in the world. So I think that was the right move that they did away with that. But it doesn't eliminate this issue of people having their wealth and their well-being attached to a number or following on social media. I do want to point out on the flip side of that, we've also had a great number of social justice movements, of small businesses, of niche artists who have been able to access their audience, get their work out there, and gain notoriety without the use of social media. They would not be able to do that. So I want to avoid saying social media is good or social media is bad. It's neither good or bad. Social media is a tool, just like, coffee is a tool or a car is a tool. It's a vehicle, it's a tool that gets us somewhere. It gets us access to more people. It allows us to define a community. But to say that it's good or bad, it's neither. It is simply a tool. So I want to encourage you to think of a couple of questions that will help you figure out if you're using this tool in a way that is good or bad for you. Not inherently good or bad, but good or bad for you. So I want you to focus on the questions of, does this tool serve me? Is this platform beneficial to me? Am I using this in a way that is beneficial to me? And is this the correct platform for me? Twitter might be great for you if you like to write and you can come up with witty quibs. But if you get overwhelmed by the short-term video method of TikTok, not the platform for you. If long form is better, YouTube's for you. If you really are just there to stay in touch with your family and friends, Facebook might be great for you. If you're a visual person, if you're an artist, Instagram's the place. So we need to start thinking about what is the right platform for my message. That doesn't mean that you can't mix and match and do a little bit of everything or apply particular methods or particular content to different platforms. So this is where we start to get into sort of social media marketing tools. And I want to talk about a couple of brands that have been super successful in their social media marketing campaigns. Milk Makeup and Parade Underwear are two that come to mind immediately. These are both brands that have been very successful in their approach towards getting involved in the BIPOC and LGBTQIA communities. And one of the ways that they do that is through what is called micro-influencer sponsoring. Micro-influencers are people who typically have between 1,000 and 5,000 followers. So they're in the small range of following on Instagram. And these are people who are community leaders in a very ground level. So let's say, I don't know, you're an EDM DJ in Minneapolis. That's the kind of person they would be looking for. Somebody who has very direct conversation and communication with their followers online and isn't just like a celebrity influencer who has their comment section turned off and never actually messages or interacts with their community. So these two brands have been able to tap into a community that is frequently sort of used as a token in advertising and not taken seriously because they reach out to very real community leaders. So, and we call that micro-influencing. So I want you to kind of think about what they're doing in that method, and if you're somebody who needs to rely on social media as an artist or as a small creator or small business, think about how you delve deeper into your specific community. You don't need to appeal to everybody. That's not a necessity. If you have 1,000 followers who genuinely care about what you do and how you make and what you create, that is way better than having 1 million followers who are just slightly entertained by you. So I'm going to recommend 2 books, and I'm also going to link a couple of articles down below that will kind of help lead you on this journey of understanding what I am talking about when I talk about these marketing techniques and kind of the entrepreneurial implications. I think it's important that we are very aware of if we are presenting ourselves as part of the product or if we are presenting a product as a separate thing from ourselves. This is why a lot of people have separate business or artist pages from the page where they put their selfies, or they keep their aunt up to date on their current life events. If you are a personal brand, if you are an artist and you say, I'm a personal brand and I am part of the art, me personally, my personality, then it's totally great for you to have your face and images of you attached to the same page as your work. But if you are somebody who would prefer to have a bit of privacy, you don't necessarily feel comfortable with strangers getting into your life, then I would recommend you be somebody who separates out your personal page from your private business page. This is up to you. These are personal questions. I'm going to leave you to figure it out. So if you have any questions about anything that I've talked about today, be sure to please leave it in the comment section. I will get back to you. I also do want to remind you guys that patrons get first access to any of these thoughts or writings. I have pages of notes that came from a post that I posted on my Patreon page earlier today, And so when I'm working through these ideas and when I'm working through the literature that I'm reading, I do post those things on my Patreon and I share those with my patrons first. And I always get back to them first and answer their comments and questions. And I'm not necessarily saying, support me financially, but that is a really special place for me, and I really appreciate what they do because they allow me to have a base monthly income that helps me to take time to do this research and to delve deeper into these topics.